Got another project here. No, this is not our current F32. If you have seen me updates on that, you'll know that ours is missing a few more pieces versus this thing. This is another F32 435 that we're working on that's going to be a little bit more of a race car light. We're going to dive into this as this is a street car right now, and we're going to start by hitting a few safety things. This car's been on track a little bit, and to start with some of the safety stuff, you know, we just got this Rollbar created from JP Marketing. That's a bolt-in, non-invasive solution to go into these things. So excited to get that for a safety aspect. Seats, Racetech 4200 HR seats, head restraints. These things are super awesome, super comfy, fit great in the shoulders, awesome head restraint protection, and just super strong. The way they come up and grab the side of you, the lateral support just feels snug, as if you've ever driven a street car on the track, as you gain in experience, speed, whatever, you start sliding around. And you know, it's not just the safety aspect, this is also a performance aspect of keeping yourself in place. And of course, to help keep yourself in place, got Lifeline harnesses, keep yourself cinched down. And well, we've got some videos on the harnesses, so I won't go through all the details, but the adjusters, super nice. Keep yourself locked in place versus some others. Our floor mounts to help make this a seamless integration. And then of course, it's not just the safety we're gonna do. I don't have the suspension laid out here, but we're gonna dive into this thing further with full MCS suspension. Gonna do MCS one-way non-remotes on this with, of course, all the package that is needed to bolt that on. So we'll dive into that a little bit later. This customer F32 project is getting underway. We've got the seats out of this thing, getting ready to get Rollbar, there it is, up in this thing. And we got some other parts in that we were waiting on. Ooh, ooh, wee! All the MCS goodies. We got precision front control arm bearing for non-M F3X now, ground control camber plates, Hyperco springs, the MCS singles, doing a one-way non-remote system on that. So time to get cracking on getting this in the car. Austin's got a set of dampers up in there, ground control plates, MCS one-way non-remotes. I wanted to get a shot of this as we're getting this F3X non-M precision front control arm bearing installed into this F3X non-M, which, as we know, that joint just really helps with the braking performance and stability of not getting so much ABS interaction. So we're making good progress on this thing. I say we're making good progress. The shop is making good progress on this thing. Austin down there, Daniel back here doing stuff. What's Daniel working on? Oh, we got rear dampers in now. Working on this dual purpose F32 a little bit. Dave has been getting the fuel starvation kit in here, which fortunately, it's our F8X fuel starvation kit. Looks like it goes right in, just like the F8Xs on these F3X non-M cars. You know, he's already most of the way done, but got the wiring plugged in here, wiring going up, around. Got a fuse panel back there that it plugs into. Nice and simple plug and play installation. As you can see, no access to this side for a second pump. So we have that pump that goes in this access port, and then we fish it over to this side. Then we got to wire it up. So we got the wiring just about all wrapped up, and hopefully have some reduced fuel starvation in this thing. We know we've seen quite a bit of reduction in the F8X cars, and expecting to see the same in this thing. Once the fuel stuff is knocked out, then he'll work on getting the safety stuff in, because once that roll bar and seats are in, it would be a little bit more difficult to get all the fuel stuff taken care of. So getting that wrapped up, then next, I think it's a roll bar going in this thing. We've got a roll bar mostly in, set in place. We got the back bars laid down. You see how those attach. We've got factory bolt location there, and then added another bolt here. Nice little cross brace. We've got the main hoop set in. I got them paused before they get this thing totally plugged in. But you see we got the tubes from the down bars to this that get clamped together. 3 of them, one over there. And then we got this little joint right here. This slides back, and there are a couple little spacers that fill the gap that remains. That clamps down bolts there, gives some additional force or resistance in a rollover that would apply to this whole floor seat area. A little better view from that. And then once this thing gets slid back into place, this will slide back, and there's a bolt hole, factory bolt hole, there it is, right there that will line up with. And then the roll bar will be installed. To get this thing in, you end up going through the passenger side. Really takes 2 people, and you kind of just snake it around the door and then snake it over the center console and then lop it on up, get it in place. And because it bolts together with those 3 clamps at the back, really it's a pretty straightforward install. And this thing is fully reversible, so it can come out and not be intrusive to the car. You can put everything back together stock if you so choose. And then after this, we get this in, then it's seats, harnesses, a couple other things, making some progress. Getting close to wrapping up this street track F32 project. We've got the MCS on this thing looking really good now that it's lowered down a nice little bit. Looking forward to seeing how this thing handles. Got the harnesses, the roll bar, the seats in it, a few other little things we did. Still need to do the coating to coat out the airbag stuff for the seats, but overall, really pleased with how this thing is looking. Now time to see if it doesn't just look good, but does it feel good. I want to go take this thing for a little test drive and make sure everything is working as it should. I got James out for a little test drive in this thing as we are taking some first little passes after getting the dampers and safety stuff installed. See what he thinks.
So far, so good. Stiff, but we didn't go with a super stiff spring rate, so you know, that just goes with the geometry of these newer cars. I think they have a little bit more anti built into them in general, and don't need as much spring. So we've got 700 front,
600 rear,
600 rear in a coilover configuration.
Yep.
And it feels good. Feels pleasant. This is the road out in front of the shop, and it's got some bigger bumps. It's got some sharper bumps, and you know, MCS dampers feel super compliant, but I feel the stiffness in the car. Surprise. Yeah, you can feel it sprung up, but it feels really good. It feels compliant, and you know, we're not going to get a chance to load this thing like we would on a racetrack, but loading it a little bit.
Yeah, he is.
Feels good. I think this is going to be a major step forward with this thing on the racetrack. Yeah, that bump felt amazing. That's a bigger one that can bounce your head against the ceiling if the car's not set up right. So that was super gentle.
Yeah, I think this thing's going to be a massive step forward for the track. So excited to get this thing back in the hands of the owner so they can go have a little fun at the track.
This is going to be a good track car.
Yep.
Amazing.
Final piece of this customer F32 project just got knocked out, which the last piece of the puzzle was the coating requirement for the race seat install. Wanted to get rid of those driver airbag, passenger airbag, seatbelt restraint, all the faults that are associated with these cars when you put race seats in there. So got that coated out, and also got the TPMS system coated out, because with these cars, if you go out on track with low tire pressure, well, you lose some functionality of some of the systems like the sport button, DSC, things like that. So you want to be able to go out with low tire pressure and then build that temp and build that pressure versus having to start high so that you have the functionality of the system. Now we have the full functionality of the DSC, the sport modes, things like that. And want to give a shout out to our friends over at BPM Sport for helping out with the coating requirements on this thing. I just took this thing for a test drive. James took it for a test drive earlier. I am super pumped, super stoked for how this thing feels, and can't wait for them to get this thing on track, because it is going to be a totally different animal. You know, to recap a little bit of what we did on this, we did MCS one-way non-remotes, put some decent spring rate on it, not too stiff for the street, but definitely added a good bit of rate that's going to give it the right platform for the track, and also Know that those MCS dampers can handle it, help hide some of that spring rate. Also did the Racetech 4200 head restraint seats, Lifeline harnesses, JP Marketing roll bar. Also added a little touch by adding our F8X fuel starvation kit, which turns out works in these F3X cars. So super thrilled to have that as an option to go into these cars, because we know these also suffer from the same fuel starvation issue as the F8X cars. So really, that about wraps this project up. Looking forward to seeing this thing on track. Stay tuned for more content. Best way to do that, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and leave a comment and let us know what you think.
Ready to go?
Should be an awesome race weekend.
We are ready to kill it this year.
It's good.
It's going to be a wild ride.
Go. Am I good to go? Oh, we got Michael behind the camera again. We'll see how this goes. F32 Project. The system. Oh, I can't get out. I'm just going to stay in. Oh, I got myself stuck. To get this thing in, oh.